Romania has officially launched a golden visa program. Now, this is not citizenship by investment, and it's also not clear if you're going to get citizenship after the golden visa process is done. In the case of Portugal, for example, you do your 5 years, and then it's going to take, let's say, 2 years more to get approved. There is no backlog currently because there is no program in Romania, so we're not going to have the crazy backlog of Portugal, but maybe as soon as a bunch of Chinese people and a bunch of Iranians and people from all over the world start applying, then the backlog will increase significantly, like Greece, Portugal, etc. But we will see. This particular program excites me. I like the Balkan region in general, specifically Eastern EU states. I love Croatia, I love Hungary, I love Bulgaria, I love Romania. I know I'm mixing a bunch of words here, Balkan and Eastern EU states. The point is, I like these Eastern EU countries that are part of the European Union, but you have a lot more freedom. But they don't try to control your life completely. You have a solid passport, obviously, because you're part of the European Union. You have a decent infrastructure in the case of Romania. I personally prefer Poland and Hungary in terms of infrastructure, quality of life, than a place like Romania, but it could be extremely popular for a lot of Americans, for example, for a lot of British people, for a lot of Chinese, obviously a lot of investors that want to have a Schengen permit and they want to eventually get citizenship in the EU. Latvia doesn't offer that, Hungary doesn't offer that, Italy doesn't offer that without actually having to live there. If you don't know who I am, I'm Wealthy Expat. I've helped over 1,000 millionaires all over the world protect their freedom, finances, future, and family. I personally have 4 citizenships, more than 5 residency permits all over the world, and I help people do exactly this, what I talk about here on YouTube. The Romania program, minimum investment of 400,000 euros, held for at least 5 years. What does excite me is the purchase of real estate worth at least 400,000 euros. A lot of people don't like real estate. I love real estate because I like being able to touch it. I like being able to go there. I like being able just to have a home somewhere where I'm getting both the immigration permit, the golden visa, potential for citizenship, and I have a house I can live in case anything happens around the world. Obviously, Romania, right next to Ukraine. Obviously, a lot of geopolitical issues with the elections, with EU intervening. There's tensions in Romania, but for now, a pretty stable country, a pretty safe country. There are obviously safer cities in the Balkans in general and in the EU in general, specifically, for example, Warsaw or Budapest or any of these cities, in my experience, are safer than Bucharest, Romania. I've been to multiple cities in Romania. I would say Bucharest would be the one where I would live in, or Cluj-Napoca also, although it's a little bit more boring. But it's very interesting to just have property in Bucharest or maybe a vacation home in Romania on the coast or on the mountains in Brașov. I absolutely love the mountains in Romania. I was snowboarding there. Absolutely love it. So real estate, 400,000 euros. Purchase of Romanian government bonds for at least 5 years, 400,000 euros. Or investment in authorized investment funds. So, for example, in Italy and Portugal or in Hungary, you also have these options. It's interesting how they put it at 400,000 euros when the investment in Hungary is 250,000 euros. So in order to have an advantage over Hungary, because you essentially get the same while being in a better country, in my opinion, with better people and so on, Hungary wins in this case, unless Romania gives you citizenship in 5 years. But to get citizenship, you have to be a permanent resident. So you would get permanent residency after those 5 years, and then you would apply for citizenship. So maybe it's a 7-year timeline, maybe it's an 8-year timeline, maybe it's a 6-year timeline. We will see. This is just a draft for now, but probably it will continue because, as I said in many videos, more and more countries will keep launching citizenship and residency programs all over the world. Or purchase of shares in listed Romanian companies. Now, it will be extremely interesting if I could buy the real estate for 400,000 euros. I could wait those 5 years or 7 years or whatever, and then pick up my Romanian passport in 7 years by spending, let's say, 1 week per year in Romania. That will make it extremely interesting. That would be a competitor towards Portugal. Portugal wants to increase the amount of years that it takes to get citizenship. If Romania comes in and says, look, invest for 5 years, you'll get a Romanian passport, solid access around the world, EU citizenship without too much of the EU craziness and the EU tracking and the EU control, I think this would be extremely popular. This program has many steps in the government to go through before it officially launches, before it officially goes live. So expect it to be next year, let's say around spring or summer 2026. That's when I expect it, if it does go through, because the EU could always come in and say, no, you're not launching this. The same thing with Moldova. They wanted to do citizenship by investment. EU came in and it was, sorry guys, we're not doing this anymore. And they paused the program because they don't want legitimate rich investors to come to the European Union. One of the main drivers of all of these new countries popping up with residency, golden visa, citizenship options is the Trump gold card. The United States, the country that basically dictates what everybody else does around the world, the police of the world, launched a residency by investment program and potentially a citizenship by investment program by donation directly. Very easy for wealthy investors to get access to the US. And other countries will see this and think, oh, I can do the same. What's stopping me? The thing with EU countries is that obviously the EU is stopping them. That's why Malta paused their program. That's why Cyprus paused their program. That's why Austria isn't selling citizenship at a specific amount because they don't want it to be a transactional approach to citizenship. That's why I think if you want citizenship, you have to look outside of the EU, specifically at a short term. If you want it in 5 years, then obviously EU has a lot of options. But if you want it in 6 months or a year, you have to look outside of the EU. But we will see. If Romania launches this is serious competition for Hungary, for Portugal, for Latvia. More countries could come up and say, oh, Slovenia, 7-year program towards citizenship. Croatia, couple-year program towards citizenship. And then we'll have more competition within the European Union. If you're interested in the European Union, another interesting program is Italy. Italy does have a golden visa with multiple tiers of investment, 250K, 500K, 1 million, and 2 million. And they have the flat tax. So if you want to pay a flat tax of 200,000 euros currently, they want to raise it to 300,000 euros. You probably should hurry up if you want to keep that 200,000 euros. If you make 20 million a year or 10 million a year or even 1 million a year in profit and you want to pay just 20% of that, and they're not going to bother you with reporting your worldwide net worth. They're not going to bother you with reporting your properties, your bank accounts all over the world. You can easily, if you're an EU citizen, move to Italy or get an Italian golden visa, and then you pay this flat tax and you're done with it. And your children can live in Italy, and overall Italy is one of the best countries for a lifestyle as well. For citizenship, it's going to take a while, 10 years or so, to get citizenship. And obviously there's a lot of problems. In Naples, you can't leave your phone or laptop anywhere because it'll get stolen. In Rome, there's a lot of illegal people. Italy in general has a lot of options. But if you want somewhere where you can be in Europe, geographically, literally in the center of Europe, with good networking, good events, good weather, as well, specifically southern Italy or Sardinia, also the weather is amazing, and you want to pay low taxes, then the Italy flat tax could work really well for you. If you want to find a better country to live in, to get residency, to get citizenship, check out this video right here on the 36 countries that the wealthiest people in the world choose for residency, for living, for better lifestyle, better taxes as well, and more freedom. Check out the video right here.